welcome into the morning show. You are listening to 1330 WNTA. My name is Sylvia. Joining me in the studio, it is my pleasure to introduce to you once again Savannah Liston. Tell me about the Campaign for Liberty.
Well, the Campaign for Liberty was founded in 2008 by Ron Paul, and it's kind of an offshoot of his presidential campaign, which inspired thousands of Americans to get involved, and his message of liberty excited people. So the Campaign for Liberty is a continuation of that, and we're working across the nation on lots of different issues, including an audit of the Federal Reserve. It's a very important issue to us.
And why is that?
Well, because the Federal Reserve has never been truly audited. Ben Bernanke says it has been, but not any of the most important aspects of what they do have been audited. So we want to open the books and see what they're doing.
And what is it specifically you're looking for? Important aspects, what are those?
Such as what they're doing overseas. We have no idea what agreements they've made with institutions and governments across the world and what money they've given away because they refuse to tell us. So we think that's something that Americans need to know.
Okay, and how are you going about that?
Well, Ron Paul has a bill in Congress, H.R. 1207 and S. 604, in the Senate to audit the Federal Reserve. So we have over half the House of Representatives co-sponsoring this bill right now, and it's made an enormous impact there because he's tried this for years and never gotten more than a couple co-sponsors. But we have over half the House now. So through the Campaign for Liberty, we've been able to advance this much farther.
Why do you think so many people are willing to co-sponsor this bill now?
I think it's the pressure that's been put on them by their constituents because we've lobbied for this. I've gathered hundreds of petitions on this, and statewide we've put together thousands of them and delivered them to the offices of the representatives and senators. And so I think it's the efforts of all the citizens coming together and urging them to co-sponsor it.
And you consider yourself a libertarian?
Yes.
Right? How does that fit in with the Tea Party?
I don't know, because all the Tea Parties are different. Well, there's been efforts to have a national group organizing everything. They're all unique. So it kind of depends on the leaders and the focus of each individual Tea Party. So I think there's a lot of people in the Tea Parties who may be libertarians or may be leaning that way and don't really realize it and are open to that message.
When you say that you don't really have a national message, basically, do you all have the same goals?
In the Tea Party?
Yes.
Probably not. I
Okay.
think it all depends on the local leaders and where they want it to go. I mean, there's some Republican-minded leaders who would like to see Republican takeover kind of the government again. And there are others who see that two-party system has failed and we need to look outside the box for solutions. So there's lots of different opinions.
Well, then let's take it to your Tea Party, the Northern Illinois Tea Party.
Yes.
Tell me what your views are.
Well, I'm working closely with the Northern Illinois Tea Party.
Okay.
And although I'm not officially aligned with them, I'm not on their board or anything, but we've worked together and everything. But they're very receptive to this message, and it kind of depends on the members, but I think the leaders in that group are willing to take the group wherever people want it to go.
Then who do you see as people that would join up or be a Tea Partier? If the message is kind of fractured.
Mm-hmm. It kind of depends on where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's libertarians who have seen the Tea Parties and have decided to get involved because they see it as an important and good way to get involved and spread their message. And then there's just the frustrated Americans who want to do something about it.
And what do you see as the message that you're portraying then? Is it lower taxes? Is it less spending? What are you trying to get out?
My message is limited in small government for now. I think that is the most important thing we have to look at and not focus on one issue, but look at the big picture of the government itself. It's huge. I mean, the government is massive, and I think we need to reduce that down as far as we can. So that's my message.
That's your libertarian view
Yes.
on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems that at least some of the Tea Partiers that I've spoken with
Mm-hmm.
feel that same way, that government is too big, that there's too much spending going on,
Yeah.
and too much taxation.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling like you need to get back to the roots of the Constitution.
Yeah. I mean, if we were able to get back to the Constitution, while it's not perfect, I think it's a lot better than what we have now.
Okay, so that's kind of your view on what's going on, is we've gotten away from what we originally started. Some
Yeah.
people say that, the Constitution's old-fashioned. It was
Yeah.
written in an era that was very different than where we are right now, and there's no way that the Constitution could apply to us.
Well, I guess I'd say that people haven't changed all that much, and our human nature is still the same, and people still want power whenever they can get it, and the Constitution is a way to limit that, because those who get in government, if there's no way to limit them, they will take over all aspects of our lives, and so the Constitution, I think, still applies in that way, because people haven't changed that much.
Do you think our politicians have lost touch with reality, have lost touch with being grounded with their constituents?
Yeah, I think so. And I've read back in the early days of our country how people would go to Washington for a term, and then they'd come back and be farmers or lawyers or whatever their profession was. And it wasn't a full-time job. You didn't do it for your life. It wasn't your career. And I think we've lost sight of that. People see politics as their career, instead of just being something that they do on the side.
So you'd like to see term limits enforced?
I don't know necessarily if that would be the issue. I think it might be more the mindset of people rather than enforcing a law. I think it starts with our mindsets and what we think about politicians and how they think about their job. So, I haven't really made up my mind for sure on term limits. Some have said from a libertarian aspect that they're not right because they limit the right of people to run for office. And I can see that, but I can see the problems that we have now with people being in office for their life. So I think while term limits may be a good thing, I think it definitely starts with the mindset.
So you'd like to see the voters take care of term limits?
Yeah. Instead of making it illegal for them to run again, I think that voters should vote them out after one term.
How do you feel about Illinois and making it difficult for anybody other than a Republican or Democrat to get on the ballot?
Yeah, that's, I think, an issue that's a problem across the country. And I've worked with people like Randy Stufflebeam, who's running for U.S. Senate under the Constitution Party, and the trouble that he has and other third-party candidates. And so I really feel that cripples our political system. And just like the free market, competition is always better. And if you only have two parties, that's not much competition.
Is Ron Paul going to run for president in 2012?
We would like him to. There's a website set up, and someone decided to set it up, and so you can go there and sign this petition to have him run. And we're all hoping that if enough people sign, he'll run. But I don't know.
He made quite a run for it this last election.
He did, and I think I'm rather optimistic about it, and I think that he could make a big impact if he ran again.